And did I mention it's live?
Okay, we broadcast live from the west side.
Hey everyone, how y'all doing? This is Lentz, and my topic for today, for Agree to Disagree, Sports Politicking, is the portrayal of race in sports. My first question to everyone is, why do people like to pretend like race in sports no longer exists? Like the NFL wasn't integrated 70 years ago, or MLB wasn't integrated 69 years ago, or NBA wasn't integrated just 66 years ago. You have people that you know that are your family who know a time where these professional leagues weren't integrated, that were all white. So why do people pretend like in a short time span, not even a generation has gone by, and you believe that race never does now no longer has an issue or issue in sports today? Main issue is really the media coverage and how people of color are are presented to us than people who don't have any color. How if say a black person gets in trouble with the law, how there's wall to wall media coverage. You got the little ESPN ticker going on about them. You got the news outlets ticker going on about them, talking about everything, every aspect of the crime that happened and where it happened and the time and the place, what the person was wearing, who was there, all these interviews. But whenever it's a white person who gets in trouble, you're not getting that same media coverage. You'll get so and so was arrested, but then you don't get the full extent of the crime, and you get the people talking about, well, this person's a good person, he wouldn't do things like this, or she wouldn't do things like that. You get a whole different aspect, a whole different review of the issue, whether it's the same issue as a black person or not. Whether it's like Brock Turner, who his coverage has been negligible. People aren't talking about it at all. Like there's not a big, it wasn't a big issue until this judge gave him 6 months over a case like Brian Banks, who was still in high school when it happened, and he got wall to wall coverage. We're talking about a high school kid who was supposed to be a top athlete going to USC on a scholarship, get more coverage than a kid in 2016 who is in college who rapes a girl with witnesses, not alleged. Witnesses were there, but you don't get that same coverage. You don't get that same scrutiny talking about how terrible he is, or how his culture has led to this, or his family upbringing has led to this. You don't get that same coverage. And with baseball, my thing with baseball is the older generation and how they keep talking about how they want to go back to how things were, and things were better, and they don't want the excitement from these younger players who are coming in now, who are mostly of color. Talking about Dominicans, Cubans, those people. They don't want that. They don't like them celebrating. They don't like those backflips. They don't like Yasuel Puig having a good time. You're playing a game. All these sports are games, child games that you play. But in any of those sports, when someone shows emotion, it's an issue. When you have Cam Newton dabbing, that becomes a hot topic issue. Why is that an issue? Why is a guy having fun playing a game an issue? Or why is it an issue when Cam Newton walks off from a press conference because he's angry he just lost the Super Bowl, and he's called immature, and he needs to grow up, and he needs to do this and he needs to do that. But when Peyton Manning walks off the field without shaking hands after losing the Super Bowl, no one can say he's a competitor. That's his competitive fire that's burning within him. Why is there such a difference? they both said that they were angry after they lost. Both handled it reasonably well, considering they just lost the biggest games of their lives. But they are covered completely differently. I take issue with things like that. It shouldn't be like that. If you have an issue with someone not shaking hands after a finals game, like LeBron, after he lost to the Magic in the conference finals, if you have an issue with that, have an issue with Peyton Manning walking off. So things like that bother me. Or when people say they want their athletes to stick to sports and talk about sports. Why? They're human beings still. They still have to live in society. When you got guys in the NBA wearing I can't breathe shirts and you get backlash to where people are saying they're not going to watch their games or buy their jerseys or buy their shoes anymore because they're speaking about social injustices, why is that an issue? Why do you feel that that is an issue with guys speaking out? Or when the St. Louis Rams came out with the hands up, don't shoot. Now that moniker may have been wrong considering what happened with Michael Brown, but at the same time, why is that an issue for you? Why is that a problem with those police that were in St. Louis who said they no longer want to help them? Why is that an issue? Why is it an issue that when Beyonce comes out in Black Panther garb representing Black Panthers, police no longer want to provide security for her because the misconception of the Black Panthers? Why is that? Why is it that when it comes to sports, people don't want their athletes, they want their entertainers to talk about sports? That is it. They don't want them to talk about anything else. I think that's wrong. You can't look to these people to be role models in every other aspect of their life. You get mad if they make a bad decision. If they go out and drink and drive, people will kill them. You're a role model. My kids look up to you. I want my kids to be like them. But when they start speaking out on things that truly affect your kids, who has a real impact on your children, you get upset. No, don't talk about that. Like when Donovan McNabb was playing, he got killed by black people and praised by white people because he did not speak out on social issues concerning black people. And you had people saying, well, we should have our players being more like Donovan McNabb. He doesn't speak out. He just does his job. As soon as he retires, he starts speaking out more, and it completely flips. It's, well, why is he speaking out now? He should have said it when he was playing. And we don't want to listen to him. He needs to just shut up. So race is still a huge issue, not only in sports, in America, across the country. And this comparison that people like to do with international sports and sports in America, saying, oh, well, in international sports, there's been 135 reported incidents in the last year compared to only 60 in America. You got to realize that when you're talking internationally, you're talking about every other country in the world. So about half of what the rest of the world has done has happened in America. But you guys don't find an issue with that because, for whatever reason. These are my issues that I'm bringing up today. Like I said, it's Sports Politic and Agree to Disagree. We're going live every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Thank you.
Okay, we broadcast live from the west side.